Which reckon is he took a personally plan to fall in the test seat by Decatos. Like, so the link to the video will be the description below. Go and check them out. So let's into this reckon in 3, 2, 1.
Dr. Simone Carter had delivered difficult news before.
Yeah.
She had sat across from patients and said the words nobody wanted to hear.
Yeah.
She had learned, over 15 years of practice, how to hold her voice steady and her face composed while delivering information. That would permanently divide someone's life into before and after. She thought she knew every version of that conversation.
Yeah.
She was wrong. Owen Garrett was 35 years old and had come to the clinic because his back hurt. Not dramatically, not the kind of back pain that sent people rushing to emergency rooms.
Really?
The dull, persistent variety that built over months until it became impossible to ignore. He was a landscape architect from Portland who spent long days bending over site plans and longer days walking construction sites. Back pain was occupational. He'd ignored it for 4 months before his partner Theo had simply booked the appointment and told Owen he was going. Owen was private, practical, and deeply resistant to medical attention. He filled out the intake form with the minimum required information, sat in the waiting room reading a landscaping journal, and presented to Dr. Carter with the energy of a man who expected to be prescribed anti-inflammatories and sent home within 20 minutes. Dr. Carter noted his symptoms, pressed carefully along his lower back, and asked the question that redirected everything. She asked about the abdominal swelling. Owen looked down at his stomach as if seeing it for the first time through someone else's eyes. He said he'd gained some weight. Desk work, probably. He'd been less active than usual. Dr. Carter asked how long. Owen thought about it. 5 months, maybe. He hadn't been paying close attention. Dr. Carter said she wanted to run some imaging, just to be thorough. The ultrasound technician's name was Marcus. He was young, methodical, and professionally pleasant in the way that people are when their job regularly required them to find things nobody wanted found. He ran the scan in careful, systematic sections. Owen lay on the table staring at the ceiling, already composing the text he'd send Theo, telling him this had been entirely unnecessary, and the back pain was muscular as suspected. Marcus stopped moving the wand. He looked at the screen. He looked at Owen. He looked at the screen again with the specific quality of attention that meant what he was seeing wasn't what he'd expected to see. He said he needed to get Dr. Carter. Owen sat up on his elbows. He asked what Marcus had found. Marcus said Dr. Carter would explain everything and left the room with the controlled pace of someone moving quickly without appearing to. Dr. Carter came in 2 minutes later. She looked at the ultrasound screen, asked Owen to lie back, and repositioned the wand herself with the careful concentration of someone who needed to be absolutely certain before she said what she was about to say. The room was quiet. The equipment hummed. Outside the thin walls, the ordinary sounds of a medical clinic continued. Phones, footsteps, the distant murmur of other appointments proceeding normally. Then Dr. Carter turned up the audio on the ultrasound unit. A sound filled the room, rhythmic, rapid, unmistakable. A heartbeat. Owen went completely still. Dr. Carter set down the wand and sat in the chair beside the examination table. She had the expression of someone who had arrived via a completely unexpected route at a destination she'd never visited before. She explained what she'd initially suspected, a large mass in Owen's abdominal cavity, the imaging characteristics consistent with a complex tumor requiring urgent investigation. It was what the external presentation had suggested. It was what she'd prepared to discuss. What the ultrasound had revealed instead was not a tumor. Owen had an intersex condition, internal
Really?
reproductive structures that had existed silently inside him since birth, undetected through every medical examination of his adult life. Structures that had, at some biological point that the genetics team would spend months mapping precisely, become active. The heartbeat belonged to a baby, approximately 22 weeks developed, positioned in Owen's peritoneal cavity with the comfortable
22 weeks.
indifference of someone who had found adequate accommodation and intended to stay. Owen stared at the ceiling for a very long time. Then he said,
Oh, congrats.
quietly, "I came in about my back." Dr. Carter said, "I know." Owen called Theo from the parking lot because he couldn't drive yet and needed a minute before going back inside to discuss next steps. Theo answered immediately. He asked if it was muscular as suspected. Owen said it was not muscular as suspected. He told Theo everything in the direct, undecorated way that he approached most things. The scan, the heartbeat, the medical explanation that was still assembling itself into comprehensible reality inside Owen's brain, even as he spoke the words aloud. Theo was silent for 11 seconds. Owen counted.
Well,
Then Theo said, "I'm in the car. Don't move." He arrived in 18 minutes, which meant he had driven with a focus that Owen chose not to examine too closely. He walked across the parking lot, took Owen's face in both hands, and looked at him with the expression of someone recalibrating everything they thought they knew about their immediate future.
Yes.
He said, "Are you okay?"
Are you okay?
Owen said he genuinely didn't know yet. Theo said that was completely reasonable. Then he took Owen's hand and walked him back inside because there were doctors to talk to and information to absorb and an entire dismantled reality to begin carefully rebuilding. The surgery happened at 33 weeks. It lasted 4 hours and succeeded without complication. The team described Owen's case in careful, clinical language that barely contained the fact that what they were doing had no established precedent in any procedure manual any of them had trained from.
Really?
At 8:17 a.m., a boy was born.
Oh.
4 pounds, 6 ounces. He cried with immediate, indignant conviction, as if personally offended by the transition. Theo was in the room. He held his son for the first time standing beside the surgical table, this small, furious, extraordinary person against his chest, and said nothing for a long time because there were no words adequately sized for the moment. Owen looked at his son and thought about the back pain, the 4 months of ignored symptoms, the appointment he hadn't wanted to attend. He thought about the word tumor, how certain it had seemed, how completely the sound of a heartbeat had rearranged everything. They named the boy Ellis. Ellis is 16 months old. He has Owen's stubbornness and Theo's laugh and a relationship with chaos that exhausts everyone who loves him completely. Owen's back pain, for the record, resolved entirely after the surgery. Dr. Carter still practices in Portland. She has delivered difficult news many times since Owen Garrett sat in her examination room. She has never again confused a heartbeat for anything else.
Wow.
Some diagnoses arrive as one thing and become another entirely. Some tumors turn
what a happy family.
out to be miracles wearing the wrong name. Owen Garrett came in about his back. He left with a son.
Yeah, literally. So he took a .24 in the test C that got by that got tossed. The link to the video will be in the description. below. Go and check them out and drop a like if you like, and comment below you want to see more reaction like this one. And subscribe if you're new and click the bell so you can be notified when we upload and when the post and go live in my bye. Wow.